guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new entitled people content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
The first story is titled, Karen Stole My Car and Towed It Far Away. Don't mess with my property, I'm the car owner. TLDR. After years I save up and buy myself a nice sports car. My neighbor is jealous, but I don't care and just park it in front of my house. When I go outside to see it is gone, I think it is stolen and go over video to find out that it was towed by a company. I was parked legally, so I call them up and they try to act like they never were there. Once I tell them I have proof, they break down and admit neighbor asked him to tow my car and put it 30 miles away. I sued both her and the company and won against them. Both of their reputations were destroyed, and the tow company even had to go out of business for what he did. Maybe I am just out of the loop or think in an old-fashioned way, but I think the right response to being jealous is just quietly seething about it. Keep it to yourself or even maybe tell a few friends about it. I guess if you are a jealous person and want a guide on the worst possible thing to do, you should keep reading, because that is exactly what my neighbor did. Trust me though that if you follow her lead you might find yourself extremely hated or maybe even in jail. I had been saving up for years to replace my old beat-up junker of a car with something nicer. Well, that day finally came, and I came home riding in my gorgeous new sports car. Now it wasn't like the most expensive car in the world or anything, but for where I live it was considered extremely nice and I knew it would turn some heads. I worked hard for it though, so I didn't really care if I caused a few neighbors to be jealous of me for a little while. The most jealous person of all though was my neighbor, who for reasons I am sure you can assume I am going to refer to as Karen for this story. Now Karen was outside her house when I pulled up and parked my new car in the street in front of my house. Our neighborhood doesn't have driveways, so it's all street parking. Her mouth puckered like she had just swallowed an entire lemon once she saw it was mine, and I knew exactly why. She liked to have the best of everything: best lawn, best house, and of course the best car. While the first two are debatable, it was clear she didn't have the best car anymore, and I assumed she was just going to have to deal with it. At worst she would maybe say a nasty comment or two that I couldn't care less about, since I was used to her being like that. What I didn't expect was for how far she was going to take her jealously until I went to go to work to find my car gone. I am not going to lie, I almost cried because my first instinct was that my car was stolen. My brand new baby that I spent all that time saving up for was just gone, and I had no idea what to do about it. The street parking was legal, so the idea of being towed hadn't even crossed my mind a single time. It wasn't until I checked my cameras that I could just barely see that my car was being towed away. The camera wasn't really meant to see the street view, but there was one moment that I was able to see the name of the tow company and immediately looked it up for a phone number. Tow company. Hello? Me. Yes, hello, I live at address, and you towed my car away last night even though I was parked legally. I would like to get my car back. Tow company. I'm sorry sir, I don't recall a tow in that area, can I get a car description? I describe the car and even give my license plate number while I sit on hold for a while. Tow company. There isn't a car here like that, so I think you are mistaken. Me. Wait, I have on camera one of your tow trucks taking my car away. Tow company. Oh well, now that you mention it, I do see a note here in my computer. I can tell he is nervous, and I am getting really tired of whatever he is trying to pull, so I cut him off right there. Me. I want to know what happened to my car, and I want to know right now, or I am going to be coming down there with the police. You towed me illegally and now claim that you don't even have the car? Tow company. Alright. Through a very long and confusion conversation that is frankly too long to post all of, I found out that the owner of the tow company is friends with Karen. She called him and convinced him to tow my car away from my house as some sort of sick jealously revenge. Then instead of bringing it to them, he towed it to the middle of nowhere so that Karen could come and take what she wanted from inside of my car. As you can probably guess, I was fuming by the end of the entire thing and hung up on the owner, telling him that I was going to be calling the police on all of them. I did just that, as well as getting a friend to drive me 30 miles away just to see my car, which was now dirty, broken into, and stolen from. There wasn't much of value inside of the car, but she for some reason took my work stuff and even the spare tire from my trunk. I wish this story ended with finding out she was on drugs or something, because maybe then some of this could make a little more sense to me. Anyway, the video was given to the police and the tow company owner sobbed and admitted to the entire thing, trying to throw Karen under the bus for all of this. I don't think he really grew a conscience, I just think he was terrified of going to jail or something. I was suing both of them for this and was mad that Karen was really only going to get in trouble for the things she stole from the car and a broken window. She didn't physically tow it, so even though she was the mastermind behind the entire thing, it was mainly the tow company that was getting sued the harshest. They had to pay out fines to me and the city for what they did, but the results of the lawsuits weren't the most satisfying parts of the story. Really, it was what happened after with both Karen and her friend. Obviously everyone knew about this, and Karen was seen as the horrible human being she is and tried so hard to mask. I think she was also a little bit scared of me, because when I see her I give her a sharp glare and she looks away like she knows not to even try to mess with me again. As for the tow company, well, nobody in the neighborhood trusted them after what they did, and some of the local stores even switched to another company to do their towing. They went completely bankrupt pretty soon after, and now Karen was friends with the exact kind of person that she would always look down on. The saddest part, or the best depending how you see the story, is that he was really her only friend, and I don't think he wants anything to do with her anymore. She ruined an entire business and got sued just because I bought a shiny new car, and she was jealous. The next story is titled, Karen Stole My Walmart Order Today. So since we don't like shopping, we have been enjoying the online ordering option at Walmart. What's not to like? You pick what you want, pay for it, they pick it and bag it, and you just roll in and pick it up. Today, however, this doesn't go as smoothly as it has in the previous few years of using the service. As I said, I put in the order and selected a pickup time. Wife and I roll in and park in space number 4, then I inform them that I'm in a blue vehicle in space number 4 with the app. Other cars are already there. Other cars roll in after we get there, and the wife and I are just chatting along with the news of the day and what the grandchildren have gotten up to lately. Finally, someone knocks on our window and asks what's the name of the order. I say it's last name. The associate frowns and says, I'll be right back. Thinking that this wasn't all that unusual, wife and I go back to chatting. About a minute later, a manager comes out to us and asks us if we're sure of the order name. I pull out my phone and show them the app. However, the app is showing us that the order was picked up already. Turns out that the silver SUV in space number 3 was approached by the Walmart staff, asked if they were my last name, picking up their order, and the woman just waved towards the back and said, "Load it up please." Walmart staff apologized and said that they're going to re-pick the order as a priority and they'd be out as soon as possible. 30 minutes later, a certain silver SUV pulls back into the spot and the woman slips into Karen mode and starts demanding a manager. Manager comes out and they chat for a bit. Being the nosy people we are, we listened in. She's pissed off that they totally screwed up her order. Manager says that they were asked if they were my last name, and she just waved to load the stuff. They assumed that they were us. An honest mistake on the part of the Walmart staff given the information they were given. Karen is now demanding that they give her the correct order. There are, however, two problems with this. First of all, since they didn't make their pickup slot, since they didn't pick up as themselves, the order was returned to stock in 2. Karen didn't bring the incorrect stuff back. Arguments go back and forth for a bit, and while this is going on, they bring out our hastily re-picked groceries and a $50 gift card by way of apology. Thus restocked, we decided to drive away, and we never found out what the final Karen versus management outcome was. The last story is titled, Don't Want to Fix the Apartment Like the Lease Says? Let's see how long the apartment can stay empty for. TL.DR. Landlords dicked me around for over a year, refusing to fulfill their commitments to the lease. I made sure they spend at least that much time, and 20 times the amount of money it would have cost them to fix my problems, on making the apartment suitable for renting again. This saga literally ended just the other day, and it's a story that's been building for over a year. Holy giant wall of text, Batman. Background. 5 years ago, we moved into a 2-bedroom apartment and got our family started. The landlady is a wonderful 81-year-old lady who was using the apartment as a retirement fund. Before we moved in, we inspected the apartment, and the landlady's son, who was taking care of everything for her, said that there was a slight leak in the wall adjacent to the shower in the bedroom, and it would be fixed before we moved in. We made sure to have that entered into the contract, gave them 12 checks and our deposit, 4 months rent, and we signed, moving in August 2015. Before we continue, I need to point something out. I have nothing against the landlady. Her 2 sons, though, had to have been adopted or switched out at birth, or the father was a real asshole, because there is no way in the world such a sweet woman gave birth to 2 complete asswipes as her sons. To call them cheap would be an insult to the stereotype. The apartment had a 35-year-old air conditioner that worked great aside from tripping the power every other time you turned it on. They chose to send a technician 4 to 5 times before finally replacing it with a new one, and even that wasn't until I told them that if they don't fix it, I'd be underpaying the rent by 10% until they fixed it. So now you know who I was dealing with. The leak. Aside from the issue with the AC, we were happy with the apartment, so we signed our 3rd extension for June 2017 to 19. August of 2017, we received notification from the water company that our water consumption increased by several 100%, which is likely indication of a leak. We called son number 1, who brought over some guy to fix it. He ended up tearing up the floor from the kitchen sink through the middle of the kids' room to the shower, replacing the pipes and closing everything back up. All good, right? A few months later, we noticed that the walls in the kids' room behind their dresser, left corner, and bed, right corner, is completely flaking. Further investigation shows the wall in the dining area and kitchen is in the same state. Instead of leaving some of the floor open for the leaked water to evaporate, he closed it all up, so capillary action took place and the water started climbing, and then destroying, the walls. Now we're obviously worried about mold as well, so we call them again. The only thing to be done in a situation like this is to tear open the floor again and let the water evaporate over a period of 5 to 6 months, so that's what we do. August of 2018, another guy comes, scrapes and paints over the walls and closes the floor. We thought we were done. November 2018, the same exact walls are flaking again. We also noted after we moved, that the wall behind the closet in the kids' room adjacent to the shower and the walls behind the fridge in the kitchen were also in horrible shape. Same issue, same problem, except this time they don't want to spend any more money fixing things, because of the mold. November 2018, we realized there are 2 problems. 1. The cabinets in the kitchen are growing mold due to the leak, and the ceiling in the bathroom is also growing mold. Son number 1 has washed his hands of this, so now son number 2 comes into play. His solution for the mold in the kitchen is to blow on it with a hairdryer, because there's no way they're going to tear out the cabinets to deal with the source of the problem. As for the bathroom, he places the blame firmly on the apartment above us and says that if we want to deal with it, as if it's our responsibility, and not his, we should go talk to them. The upstairs neighbor brought a plumber with a thermal imager who plainly showed they had no leak. Son number 2's answer to all this was to bring a guy to scrape the ceiling and paint over it, even though the guy said it would make no difference. The mold was back through the paint in under 2 weeks. They still refused to treat it. The correspondence. Eventually, we had had enough, and we sent them official notice through certified mail that they were in breach of contract, and if they did not send someone to deal with the walls and the mold within 10 days, we were exercising our right to terminate the lease early. We would pay a prorated rate for every day in the apartment, but we demanded our rental checks and deposit back. Throughout the entire time we tried our best to be polite, yet firm, as it wasn't the landlady's fault her sons are complete and total dicks. The son's response was that if we leave early, they'd keep cashing our checks to pay for the rent, and if we canceled the checks, they'd take our deposit. We consulted a lawyer who said that if they even thought of touching our deposit, we had an open and shut case, as we had reams of photo and text evidence of their refusing to fix things. We sent them a timeline and repeated our offer. They proposed to take the entire last month's rent. We repeated our offer a 3rd time, this time with a threat to take them to court, and they finally caved and agreed to the prorated rent and giving us back our entire deposit, provided we paint the place before we leave. On Friday I gave them the keys and got my checks and deposit back, and recorded them on video saying that they accept the apartment in its present shape and absolve me of all future liability. The revenge. Aside from bending those 2 colossal dickwads to my will, I've left behind several things which will act as my revenge. 1. Even though I painted the walls, I just painted over the flaking paint, and it has itself already begun flaking and peeling. They couldn't say anything, though, because I painted, as they demanded. If they do end up getting new renters, they'll have to deal with the same problems we had. However, they won't get new renters because 2. The mold wasn't dealt with, either in the kitchen or in the bathroom, and even though I painted over it, it was already visible on Friday when I gave them back the keys. 3. We showed every single person who came to look at the apartment where every single problem was and told them to make sure that they got the repairs in the lease before they sign anything. Needless to say, no one even thought about signing a lease once they saw the state of the apartment. 4. Whenever they posted the apartment on social media, we privately messaged everyone who commented. Not surprisingly, no bites there either. 5. We've already moved out, but the next door neighbor knows the entire story, and if he hears anyone in the apartment, he's going to tell any potential renters of all the issues and shit the landlords put us through. He owns his place, so there's nothing the landlords can do to stop him. 6. Since the apartment is their mother's retirement fund, aside from everything else, they'll be forced to support her until they can rent it out again. So far, I've guaranteed that the apartment will sit empty until they fix the issues, as well as the time it will take to fix the issues, easily a matter of 5 to 6 months, as no one will rent an apartment with torn up floors and walls. I hadn't finished yet, though. While I feel sorry for the landlady, her sons really are assholes. I went to a buddy of mine who raises snakes, and he gave me about 20 frozen mouse and rat carcasses. About 30 minutes before they came to inspect the apartment and take the keys, I left them in random areas around the house. Under the cabinets, near the water heater, by the floorboards in the living room, near one of the AC hoses which ran through the floor, even near one of the bath drain pipes. I left them there and in several other places which will begin to stink to high hell, but not for a while. I'm going to make the sons tear up the entire apartment finding all these rotting, nasty carcasses, and none of it can be traced back to me. First floor apartment with a mouse infestation, because the landlords never dealt with the leak, sewage issues. Even if they do suspect me, I've got their video guarantee that they won't come after me in court for any reason. Thank you for listening.